That's up to you. We're in a session. This is gonna be dropping. This album is dropping. This is the second CD. So, you know, you can talk about this. Yeah, shit.
What got number 4?
Got to before 44. Just self-aggrandizing theory. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's not you just looking for shit. Because anybody can say that. And there's no way every day you come with 3 or 4 cases where this is.
Isn't in the realm. I'll connect them to my narrative. They're all some way connected either to me or I can show you how you connect outside of me.
I challenge somebody to use another number code.
I ask them, my critics all the time, I'm like, oh, you put a number. Show me the number.
I'm in vessels.
That's not a number like this.
My sons. I have to say red pill, blue pill, and KTR.
And if you can't find a number, then that number 2.
And that's not to say these guys are typical. They're but the Pacific Atlantic is ours. The planet is ours. African 24 karat drip, 42 savages. Always some savages. Slave to the lavish shit. Save them Africans. Pay to the papyrus. Age of the actors. Waving the magic stick. Ways of the Nazareth. Rays of the Polaris. Red stones on my red throne. Red throne at these red bones. In a red grove with no red road. Fence pro with them heads with blue steel, the blue moons. Has blue flames doing blue shrooms. Got the blueprints. Leaving blues clues. All this blue money that I blew through. Wakanda forever, Killmonger forever. I'm true to Shambhala, I'm new to Kabbalah. The ink of a scholar, we're more than the blood of a horror. In the card of the sword, the king of karma, the Lord that can crush you through karma. It's such a dishonor. I'm flown from the matrix with digital pills. Paid all my dues with indigenous bills. Fuck all the frillers, drills. Giant bridges to build. Bridges to build. Gargamel like bitches to kill. See your guns like I've been to Brazil. Finish to fill, rinsing and still. If you enter my feeling, I said you gon' squill. Red stones on my red throne. Red throne at these red bones. In a red robe with the red home. Fat roll them hits roll. With the blue steel on the blue moons. Hot as blue flames doing blue shrooms. Got blueprints. Blue money, blue shrooms. Puffin' ganja, we fucking up colors. Shape of geometry, face of anomalies. Facing high getting on hello. Racing economy, great trigonometry, ancient lobotomies, ancient philosophies, ancient is Socrates, raping the sodomy, gave an apology, ancient neutrality, fuck all the drama, let's fuck up some comments, this kid H.E. Eddick was fucking Madonna, love for the genre, I'm busting my llamas, these fucking piranhas and words of Killmonger, bury that sea with the fucking piranhas, you selling them hope like you fucking Obama, we selling them dope like we fucking Osama, life is a bitch, let's just call her Madonna, adopted a twins from hotels in Rwanda, red stones on my red throne.
Alright, we're gonna end it right there. Insert flex bomb. Boom! Peace of you and yours, peace of you and yours. Welcome to Know the Ledge. This is Melanin Mondays, and this is your host, Brother Red Pill. We are in the building. Tonight is gonna be a special episode. You know, we're gonna mix it up. Right now, we in the studio. We are currently making some magic happen because whenever we come to the studio, that's what happens. And to be honest with you, you know me. I'm not out here running around on some egomaniac shit. So I'm not even tooting my horn, but that's the truth. Is that a fact or not?
That's a factoid.
So we're going to be joined by my brother Kambada, the lyrical genius. Come, say what up to the fan.
Physical present is verified.
And we in the building with the Blue Pillar, the legend.
Peace to the family.
And yeah, we working on finishing up this monumental project that we released on 4/4 the twin album, this basically doing what it was supposed to do, making a lot of waves, satisfying a lot of people's, appetite, and we're getting rave reviews for the work that we put in arduously over the last few months. You know what I mean? This was the team, the creative team that came together, and we put our art, we put our artistry, you know what I mean, in everything that we did. You know what I'm saying? We tapped into our Tahuti, and we also tapped into, our Patah, and we've created another project that the brothers and sisters inside of not just the community but around the world, in all communities, because hip hop is global. So this is a global sound. You know what I mean? This is a global movement. You would be surprised where we're shipping CDs to. Facts. Huh?
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a global market. There's global support. Salute to everybody that supported the album. Salute to everybody who has purchased the deluxe edition. Salute to everybody who has downloaded the first disc. The first disc was 11 songs of, mostly me, Blue Pill, and our executive producer, Kambada. My dude, Knowledge Born Allah, has a new name for you.
What's that?
Remember Capadonna?
Yeah.
You Kambada Donna. It was like, you know what I'm saying? Like on a purple tape. You know what I mean? It was Ray and Ghost, but Cap was also there bodying it. So, this trifecta that we have here, we're able to, we have a chemistry, you know what I'm saying? And we're out here putting in work. We're not just rapping to make sound, you know what I mean? To make shit rhyme and all of this retarded things. We are basically doing in rhyme form, and then doing in a musical form, and then doing inside of poetry what we do. What we do in consciousness, or what we do in our lectures, or what we do in our many different, builds and whatnot, our ciphers. So, sky's the limit. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to A.A. Rashid. He played a major part as well with his creative, endeavor, his creative input and whatnot. And he's also featured on multiple skits. And we also have a fire song on disc number 2 called Fake News, where he completely bodied it.
Indeed.
You know what I mean? So, we're just here doing the work. There's a lot of things going on that we're going to touch on tonight. Last week, I was in Houston. I have to give a shout out to everybody in Houston who showed up for the pop-up Melanin Monday. I have the copy of that lecture. I was having a problem with Wi-Fi where I was at. I was in Houston, Texas with family, so I wasn't even really on the internet like that. I actually unplugged, and I was with my daughter, and I was having the time of my life. I was recharging, you know what I'm saying? I was, but we had to pop up. So shout out to Pop Darby, shout out to Talik Heru, shout out to everybody who showed up. Shout out to Unapologetically Black. That's a brand that the family needs to support. They have it on lock in Houston when it comes to the conscious clothing and the streetwear, and also branding, also successful branding and marketing to the market who they work for, and the market who they are servicing, and that's the black people of Houston and Dallas and all over. I went to something called the Buy Black Marketplace at the Shrine of the Black Madonna. And I want to say this to everybody that's listening who lives in a state where you have more than 50 people who are part of your community. They don't have to say that they're conscious. They don't even have to say that they're woke. If you have 50 different people who are supportive of each other, you should be opening up a marketplace, a monthly or a bi-weekly, or if you really have people who support each other, a weekly marketplace. So all of the creatives or all of the creators or all of the people who work 9 to 5s and things of that nature, or all of the people who are trying to transition from 9 to 5s, from corporate, you know what I'm talking about, from unemployment, from, I don't know how to get anything to eat for my children, from government assistance. They're trying to transfer into small business. In order for any small businesses to operate or to grow or for the wheel to turn, right? Because this is a currency. You know what I'm saying? It's the current, you know. You have to basically you have to continuously come in, you know, because current is something that moves in a perpetual motion, like, you know, like in a circle and whatnot. We always speak about circulating the currency versus spending the currency. It's the same way that they say don't spend your seed, right? It was considered a sin for you to spend your seed, because when you spend something, you waste it. Don't waste your seed. Don't spend your seed. Don't spend your money. Circulate your money. You have to belong to a circle, or you have to belong to a network, or you have to belong to a community, or you have to belong to a marketplace. Why would it be? It wouldn't be hard for people who belong to a network to say, yo, when I buy my soap, it only is going to be on Saturday at the Buy Black marketplace, the Buy Moorish marketplace. You know what I'm talking about? Buy, you know, buy golden brown market, whatever you want to call it. You make sure that you show up and you make the dollar circulate. You make it circulate so it goes from hand to hand. That's what I saw taking place when I was in Houston, Texas. Salute to Houston, Texas. When you do the research on Houston, Texas, even though they went through a natural disaster with Harvey, Houston, Texas is one of the states where people are on an upward trajectory, upward mobility. They're identifying people who look like me and you as living very good in the state of Texas and Houston. They're taking off like a rocket. Shout out to my guy.
Yeah, James
Harden with the 44. You know what I'm saying? So Houston, we have a problem. They're getting their shit together. I spoke to the coordinator of the Buy Black Marketplace. She said, Brother Red Pill, I'm going to need your assistance and your help in opening up marketplaces around the world, or around America for starters. So I let her know that we're going to get on top of that, because if you want to talk about nation building, or if you want to talk about community building, niggas is talking nation building. They haven't even built a community in the last 20 years. There's not even been a successful build of a community. There's a lot of niggas out here that are claiming that they belong to a community, but no one functions in a communal sense. The only community is this groupthink and all of that, but it's not community. There's a possibility, you know what I'm saying, that there can be one, but you have to get the economics together first. And it's simple. You don't gotta, you know what I'm talking about? Like, you don't gotta recreate the wheel. Create marketplaces. This was inside of Shrine of Black Madonna, inside of the, not even inside of the actual shrine, but their outdoor, room or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of room. And there was about 100 vendors, A lot of vendors even knew me from YouTube. You know what I'm talking about? I was very recognizable. As I moved through the crowd and whatnot, it was networking and politicking. And what I saw inside of that small building is $1 billion startups, $1 million startups, small businesses, young, melanated young men, you know what I mean, with a vision. I met a young man and he has a vision. He's on his young entrepreneur, you know what I mean, mandate. He's not asking anybody for a job. Him and his his mama, and their younger brother was in there holding it down, and he was networking, taking pictures, taking selfies, giving away samples, you know what I mean, doing this thing. So, we need to encourage that. What are we giving our children? What do your children have to, what do they have to look forward to going to the next lecture that you're going to drag them to? A shootout? Or maybe a nigga getting his head popped off? What do they have to look forward to? You know what I'm talking about? We're not giving them options to say, yo, we're going to create an environment where the children and the parents and the small businesses and the people who just want to come and get products can prosper. And the dollar gets to circulate. So you niggas can't just talk about, you know what I mean, how you're going to buy black and you're not going to go to Starbucks. You're going to find a black coffee shop around your way. You know what I'm saying? Before you drink something that's known to be very addictive, which is the coffee, you're going to just wait. You're going to hold it out until you find that black coffee shop that probably don't even exist anymore. Because when Starbucks came in the neighborhood, You niggas wasn't supposed to turn your back on the mom and pops. You wasn't supposed to turn your back on the stores that were always feeding your ass real coffee, and the beans were not GMO, and the beans did not cause cancer. You know what I mean? Y'all niggas have, you know, don't try to shit on Starbucks now when you niggas have supported Starbucks. What is Starbucks? Starbucks is the motherfucking brand, or Starbucks is the entity, because it's an entity, is Yemeya. They took the symbol and they perverted it. It's the entity that what does that represent?
What Yemi I represent?
Yes.
Well, in essence, that's beauty.
Okay. Yes. So anytime the Starbucks show up in your neighborhood, what is that a precursor to? What are they the symbol of? What do their brand represent? You see that mermaid type of, you know what I mean? They wash up. The minute they set up shop, you now are under the process. They call it gentrification. It's a takeover. You're being washed up. Some people are coming into your kingdom. They're coming into your neighborhoods. They're coming into your city. They're coming into your, wherever you live and domicile, right? And making you a vassal of your own state. You know what I mean? Remember, they are the brand. That there's no other brand that signifies gentrification when they appear in your neighborhood. You can't name me one. Don't say McDonald's, niggas. Sit down. You know what I mean? You can't name me one. It's Starbucks. That's what they represent. And what do they represent? They're selling you Ethiopian coffee beans, black coffee, the blackest of the black, from the motherland, from Ethiopia. Okay? And they're serving their clientele this black coffee, these coffee beans. But they won't even, you know what I mean? But on the flip side of that, they're anti-black. They don't want to, you know what I mean? And remember, there's a policy inside of Starbucks that they won't even hire heterosexual men of melanin complexions. You know what I mean? They push an agenda with the coffee. So you niggas should not be one to go and kick down Starbucks door. That's not even a conversation worth having. I thought they been had the plug pulled on them. I go there for free Wi-Fi, okay? And I might have to buy a muffin because, you know, I'm just courteous. I'm not going to go into any establishment and just sit there and not patronize it. You feel me? I don't care if it's Cracker Barrel. Like, I don't care if it's the most, because you niggas run around with this preconceived concept that a goddamn brand or an entity somehow cares about you. Like brands and entities have feelings. You niggas are out of your mind. You know what I'm saying? The chief operating officer flew in to just holler at the niggas and take selfies with them. And then they hired a sister of color. You know what I mean? To be their talking, to be their talking piece. To be their spokesman for the meantime to put the fire out.
It's called chess.
That's a chess move. And then Kevin Hart is like, it has nothing to do with the corporation. It's just the employee. No. What does it represent? What does it represent? What's the symbol literacy of the whole situation? What is Starbucks, my nigga? That's like when niggas see the Jesus, the Pinta. What was the ships?
The Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria.
Yeah, you know what I mean? The Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria is like they pulling up. So all of these, because, you know, people are like, what are you talking about, Red Pill? Don't be poverty consciousness. Gentrification is good. You know what I mean? They cleaned up all of these vacant lots and turned them into these shiny castles and community gardens and things of that nature. Crime is down. You know what I mean? The dogs are free. You know, there's no more pit bulls fighting. The poodles have taken over. We have whole food. There's no more food deserts. We're living good. Nigga, it's 50 degrees in New York today. You know why? Because you have a foreign entity. You have a people who are not tropical. You got to understand who we are. We are a tropical people. You understand what I'm saying? We're not anything of, we come to life. Case in point, anywhere where you niggas live at and it's ever gotten hot, it's the motherfucking rise of the walking niggas come out of the caves of death.
Facts.
Factoids. The sun resurrected niggas on Easter Eve in New York. Yeah. They talk about the resurrection of Christ. I saw it with my own eyes.
They brought the grills out. They brought the grills out. If it hit 60 degrees, they bringing out the grills.
It was people coming on 2/5 that I didn't see. I'm talking about for months and one day. Niggas came out of their cave because we are solar people. We respond to the sunlight. We respond to that energy source. We respond to the solar. You know what I'm saying? So anywhere, when you regentrify Harlem, where the majority of the people who are on this grid, do you know what this grid means? If you study geomancy, you know what I'm saying? Geodetics. Do you understand what this grid is and how it's powering the rest? If you could understand the nodes of the internet, as above, so below. If you niggas could understand all of that complex shit that y'all be throwing out there with quantum, you'll understand that this motherfucking grid that we stand on, this quartz, because New York is on top, black quartz, Manhattan, the city of the borough of Manhattan, which includes Harlem, right? Piezoelectricity, meaning the emanation of all kind of energy based off of pressure on top of it. But what did they do in Manhattan? They made it a city of skyscrapers, 100-foot tall, 100-story tall buildings. So there's an energy that comes out of here. If the place that was the most melanated with tropical people has been gentrified, and those people are refugees of their own land, of their own grid, of their own place, of their black dot. Do you know that dot that we stand on 125th Street across the street from the Apollo? That dot right there has changed the world for better or worse. You know what I'm saying? But that dot right there is steering the consciousness of global consciousness. There's other points and nodes, but I'm talking about that one black dot. And Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey actually were on that same black dot.
Facts.
Factoids. Google map it. You know what I'm talking about? Like Drake said, we be Google mapping where you niggas say it looked like a bando. That's not what you were saying in your raps though. So that black dot, that one place where if you stand in that area across the street from the Apollo, it's a mystical feeling. Anybody who stood out there will tell you and testify to the testament of what that energy is about. And I've been immersed in that energy for damn near more than a decade. Even when I go away, I gotta come back to the source. You know what I'm talking about? And with Europeans pillaging, the shit looks like, you know, like when you go and do research on when empires got taken over, when we were conquered and whatnot, and we became basically vassals, and they would just run through the castle, they would just run through the kingdom. They'd take your women, they'll take your children and do things, your children come up miss, you know, all of these things.
Just taking place.
And then you got to remember, this is how the process goes. First, they send in Starbucks. Then they send in intelligentsia or military intelligence. Remember, these people, they looking like Bob and Sue from, you know, Minneapolis and, you know, non-threatening and whatnot. But they're gathering information. They're analytics. Okay, the same thing that you see with Cambridge and Facebook. They've been collecting data, my niggas. Don't act surprised now. You know what I'm talking about? Don't watch the Zuckerberg hearing and get all fucking, you know what I mean? You niggas have a eureka moment. That's what they do. At the water cooler, they're gathering information. The white boy that's always asking about Ray Ray and all of them on the corner while he's fucking licking on your toes and whatnot, or letting you fart on his face. Yeah, he's collecting information. Dude at the bar that called you, you know what I'm saying, Barty, when he rolled up on you and was like Nubian Queen. You know what I'm saying? He was like, I saw it when I came from BEYCHELLA. You know what I mean? And I want to be a part of your beehive. You know, you're telling him all of this information and he's collecting data. That's why they set up bars. That's why they set up Starbucks. That's why they set up all of these social places so they could put you in a motherfucker's trap, because niggas want to sit around white people and tell them everything that they're doing and about everybody else. You know what I'm talking about? That's what black people do, especially those who are, you know, a part of the matrix. That's what they do. So they collect data in corporate, They collect data in the streets. They collect data in the industry. As a result of the data that they're collecting in the industry, they know how to manipulate and they know how to put forth certain kind of spells or certain kind of programs or certain kind of agendas that are affecting people on a street level. Henceforth, the constant, I'm talking about the non-stop endorsement in the form of billions of dollars, not just billions of dollars, because billions of dollars open up doors. So we're talking about corporate entities such as Universal, Def Jam, Interscope, Atlantic, all of these places, all of these labels, these billionaire labels with all of these shareholders who own the same stocks in the prisons, the conglomerates who own the prison stocks. They're owning stocks in everything that's against you, right? They are funding your demise. They are funding your genocide. They are funding your devolution. Whether you like it or not, you niggas could go ahead and do the Millie Rock all you want. But what I'm saying is, these people, these corporate entities, they're not putting multi-million-dollar campaigns behind brothers who are talking about consciousness, or brothers and sisters who are talking about, self-love. And, even if they making it super wavy and mixing it with the streets, they're still not funding that. They getting behind the fuck shit. And they're pushing it on the people in a way where the people are thinking that this is the wave, that this is it. Not realizing billions of dollars go into, remember, you think if Cambridge Analytica and Facebook do data analysis, imagine what the record industry does. They know how to pinpoint certain targeted areas, certain youth groups, and all kind of things based off of their playlists, based off of radio programming. It's a science with them. They need a Tekashi. They need a Cardi. They need everything that you hear on the radio right now in the way that they're lining it up, because it's in alignment with an agenda that they've been carrying out ever since they declared war on you. Why? Because of the fear of a black planet. Okay? There's an agenda to stop you from your upward mobility, because they know if you niggas are able to not enact, but reenact Wakanda, you're going to be a problem. So they're playing all kind of things against you. Are there some positives to trap music? Yes. There's always, if I was in a bear trap, there would be some positives to the fact that I was in a bear trap, but there's also cons to it too. That music is able to trap a nigga. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be trapped right now. Shout out to the 7 inmates who lost their lives. Sending condolences to the family of the 7 inmates in South Carolina who died in a prison, one of the biggest prison murders in history, where the guards let the prisoners fight for 7 hours. They left them to die. You don't want to follow the mandates of what they're selling you and what they're feeding you and what they're funding and what they're telling you is the way of life and how you're supposed to live your life and how you're supposed to carry out your days in order to feed your family or in order to drip. You know what I'm talking about? Or in order to throw 100 racks at that booty. That booty. I want to see that booty. Big old booty. Imagine being a married man or somebody who wasn't even thinking about that, and you got to hear that 100 times on a radio station in a day.
I mean, not to mention Instagram. How many times you don't even gotta be following booties.
You don't even gotta be following booties. You could click like on a shorty that follows booties. And you gonna see that booty? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
If you're following anybody that's following somebody that likes booties, it's all over your discovery page.
You start going to the bank and be like, yo, give it all to me in singles, because on my phone, I'm just, you know what I mean? I'm in Magic City, my nigga. Like, I'm in Starlets. I know who's serving the drinks tonight and what motherfucking side of the bar that they're gonna be on. God damn it. You know what I'm saying?
You can't look at a yoga page without seeing a chick in the thumb busting that joint open in a handstand.
So
that's on yoga pages.
It's real out here. I'm just saying. Somebody is like, stay focused. All right, if I can stay focused, you know, That's my struggle. But what about the 100 other million people or the 100 billion? Because keep in mind, you niggas think this shit is a local thing. When you do the metrics, when you do the SE, when you do the data, when you find out all of the search data and the keyword data, the majority of the people who are tuning in to see our women in their most sexual exploitive places and states are people of Indian descent and Asian descent. I promise you, the Philippines leads in Pornhub based off of the research that they did watching black women, big booty black women.
What?
That booty, big old booty.
These little Philippine dudes is over there swacking it.
You know what I'm talking about?
Get it right.
Philippines, man.
And the niggas from Dubai are sending tickets.
Yeah.
That's the only difference.
Hard drives, melanated.
The Chinese, yeah, the niggas from Dubai is just sending the plane tickets like, come on, come over here. You could come and chill with my tiger.
Wow.
With that booty. So, you know, it's just, it's you know, it's an
You can come
interesting,
and chill with my tiger.
some interesting things going on out here. You know what I mean? But it's undeniable that there is a machine, right, that is behind a lot of things that we're taking for culture, or a lot of things that we're just thinking is the way of life or the way to go, versus the way of life that we already was shown last week. You niggas forgot about that, or last year. You know, everybody was, you know what I'm talking about? You see the power of the programming. You see the power of the programming. If you really pay attention, niggas who you thought couldn't get succumb to the program or this matrix or the spell, how easy this shit has engulfed so many people. I know about them goddesses. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I know how real this shit is out here.
What about
The ratchet, the power of the ratchet god, whatever the trap, whoever the fuck the trap god is, give me the name of this nigga. Whatever the energy of all of the ratchetness that these niggas have put forth. You know what I'm talking about? That shit is the, you know what I mean? Like, that's Thanos, B. You know what I'm talking about?
Talk about how they always throw a Beyonce performance at black people once there's something crazy going on, and it make us forget about everything. Everything. There could be a war world. You throw up a Beyonce performance.
No, I mean, when Lemonade dropped out of nowhere, it was in the middle of something.
When we were little children, when we were Amir's age, around 10 all the way up to 13, what artist was it that every time he dropped a video and every time he dropped a single or an album, shit just stopped?
That's MJ.
MJ.
Right.
So in this modern day times, if not for the men, definitely for our women of all races and colors and creeds, Beyonce or Bey once, BEYCHELLA, yeah, she's that one right there. They're looking for one. And like we spoke about earlier, the work that she's put in to have a no blemish, to have the least of blemishes. Y'all could go with the Illuminati indictments, but the least of public blemishes on her character than most of the women that are her peers, and the fact that she is one of the greatest performers of her time, and the fact that not only she's the greatest performer because of what she's doing, her overall package, and I'm saying it from an observation standpoint. I'm not being all judgmental and nailing this girl to a damn cross by her weave. You know what I mean? By her bundles. I'm gonna tell you that based off of a musician, I'm a musician myself. So the fact that she can perform and hit ranges like that, and whatever the showmanship, you know what I'm talking about? The showmanship, the fact that, you know, let's use an example, and I know he lost the game the other day, so you niggas are not going to agree to it, but the level at what LeBron is doing based off of the trend that was set by somebody who was considered to be the greatest of all time. So she has studied who is known as the greatest of all time. You think people are not studying Prince and Beyonce? But there's a power in the divine feminine. You know what I mean? The reason why the world stops is because she's showing you that power of that power. How powerful that nigga BEYCHELLA. That shit is like life to people right now, B. I was on Twitter, like, I don't I'm on Twitter like 2:30, and I'm just looking through the thing. I'm looking through the mentions to see what's going on before I go to sleep. I see BEYCHELLA. I'm like, what's going on? I click on it. So by the hype that I'm seeing in the Twitter feed, I'm like, there's some shit about to happen.
Bro, they could have been bombing every country on this earth, and nobody would.
Fam, they was bombing shit. Shit was getting bombed, yeah.
But nobody cared.
Bombs over Damascus, World War III. Like Blue Pill said, we'll talk about that in a minute. Like the whole WW3 going down. But BEYCHELLA came with the coat of arms. She opened the shit up with the ram horn, motherfucking. They had remember all of the dancers came running out with the King Tut bathing suits and the leggings, and I have that on the website very soon coming up too, ladies. You know what I'm saying? And then they opened up the path for her. She got the body in it.
Body in it. Son.
She's unbelievable.
Yo, Red Pill. Red Pill.
What we have to conclude at this particular point, and this is the conversation that I left out of my conversation with Rich about her father. He was primed, right?
Yeah.
To only look for white women and accidentally found her mother, who was militant. And she raised a baby who, even though she embodied the ethos of what he was looking for or what he would consider just right for a daughter, right? And she exceeded that in his eyes. But her being the standard of beauty, she still loves her blackness. And she has come to a mystical place of it where she has shown enough public demonstration, even if for want or want not, you know what I'm saying? That look, I can act in a theatrical manner to show you the entire breakdown of this ritual.
Facts.
She's executed it time and time again. Even if it's only theater, she's one hell of an actress. She's
arguably
the best of her time.
She's arguably better than Michael Jackson in a lot of ways, man. She's the evolution, bro.
Come on. Come over here. I can't have you off camera dropping these bombs.
No. Beyonce is the evolution.
Come on. This is the words of Bata.
She's arguably, we were talking about this earlier, is that we have these deities like Michael Jackson, Prince, even guys in the 60s and 70s that
James Brown with the hair.
Yeah, James Brown with the hair, the onesies. The essence of what made them such impactful artists was their ability to show and express their feminine aspects. So you had these borderline androgynous men like Michael Jackson and Prince.
Barry White, as big as he is, even think, you know what I'm saying? Gerald Levert, he had to be a teddy bear. You have to be presented as somewhat soft and feminine and fluid in that particular place because music is somewhat dominated by that energy.
It's a serpentine energy.
It's a serpentine. It conjoins. Remember, music is a place that defies physics because things are coexisting at the same time in one place.
Come over here.
And that's the music with the beat. You can't technically say or pinpoint where that exists in time and space. Where does music exist? Where does this conjunction or interjunction with the lyrics, right? Where does it conjoin and meet? You can't identify a place or a space for it. So music is the illmatic top tier of liberal arts and masonry. It's the top tier. So this is the #1 station in port from which man is able to create realities, or as they say, build lodges that you don't hear any sound of hammer or nails, because he is building in the mind labs of the mind. And freestyling is the form that brings together all seven liberal arts at once.
So somebody like, so in other words, because music happens to be this, you can't even rebut somebody when they are argue or have a line of debate through music. You can only receive, and it seems as if when prophets or quote unquote prophets or deities are in this realm, we see them in their greatest glory as musicians, not of athletes or even of civil rights leaders. They all get shot down first. Politicians, they all get shot down first. It's the musicians that are able to transcend to the highest level. And it seems as if in the artistic endeavor of music, because it's inherently feminine, and you had all these men that mastered it prior to Beyonce that were using a feminine energy, it masters itself in the feminine. Just like Sebi said, what nation of animal.
What
or
animals
group
in
of
the
animal
jungle
are ruled
don't
by
follow
men.
what group of animals in the jungle don't follow the woman?
The woman, and she is the queen bee. The queen bee, if you study the dynamics of bees in a hive, the males are simply workers, and if they're lucky, they conceive that queen. The rest of them die.
Right.
You know what I mean? So basically, if you look at hyenas, their vagina comes out of their body and grabs the dick. They're twice the size of the men, and the men only eat the scraps of the woman. Beyonce is as a 36-year-old, however old she is, has had the most unscathed career path so far, and she's only gotten better. She doesn't seem to be aging, and I can't say this about any of her predecessors. Look at all her predecessors, male or female. None of them. Whitney had the voice, did not have the dance moves and the breath control. The ones that had the Janets that could dance a little bit did not have the vocals. The ones that have the vocals and the dance moves might not have the physical essence and the unscathed career with no drug use or no thottery that we know of. You know what I mean? So, I mean, Beyonce's got to be
She
it.
looked larger than her husband on that stage.
Yeah.
At Coachella.
Beyonce sounds like it's French for beyond.
Yeah, that's Bay once, brother. That's Bay once. So salute to Mama Tina, because I was talking about the Shrine of Black Madonna in Houston, where I was just at. All right, and we had a monumental time there, and we're gonna be doing some more work with them. But Tina put out a post that said, if it were not for the Shrine of Black Madonna, her daughters would not know what they know today.
Wow.
So she was a member of the shrine back in the days. This is a Creole woman who obviously knows some things. The father lives out there. You know what I'm saying? So
Yo.
you know, let's. My thing is this: from an observation point of view, being someone that's just gonna, I'm gonna sit right in the middle. You know what I mean, and be the observer from what I'm observing. You know, I'm seeing her and I'm seeing Jay become groomed for the political life. Okay,
Early.
they're being groomed. You know, people are like, this is royalty and things of that nature, but what's manifesting is they're being groomed for, you know, politics, but maybe something bigger than politics. You know what I mean? You know, so we're just paying attention.
Yeah,
Yo, quick question. Would you consider Matthew Knowles and Tina Knowles, along with Joe Jackson and Catherine Jackson, along with other parents, would you consider Matthew and Tina Knowles top 3 most effective parents on earth? Now let's put this in perspective. You got Joe Jackson and Catherine Jackson that use very extreme methods, but they yielded a Michael Jackson. You have Tina and Matthew who use, some would say, extreme methods, but they yielded a Beyonce. You have the Wayans brothers.
And Solange.
Yeah, and a Solange.
Right.
And you have other families that have been able to spawn multiple units
Right.
of
Wayans,
geniuses, whether they're in athletics or in entertainment. So what do you think about, so based on what we know about Matthew and about Tina and what we know about Beyonce, how could we even, like, where do we measure their parenting skills with a Joe Jackson and a Catherine in the yielding of these prophets that they were able to bring to earth? Where do the parents sit in this, the parenting?
Well, the parenting is the foundation of who these people have become. It always goes back to what the parents did or didn't do. Right? Now, multiple formulas are being used in multiple different situations based off of, you know, there was a formula of trauma being used by Joe Jackson. And Michael is not with us today, maybe as a result of that trauma, because he would always fall back into what took place in his early childhood. Right. So the result, and if you look at the rest of the Jackson 5, no shots taken, or if you look at LaToya, you know, or if you know what I mean, you may see that there may have been some issues based off of the way that they may have been raised or what they were exposed to at a very young age inside of that industry. I don't know the whole story. I just know that I heard trauma and abuse and things of that nature but I know that it's a form of programming. I know it's a form of disciplining. I know it's a form of, because remember, in the movie industry and also in the music industry, it's a form of military. It functions as a, but especially when you get on movie sets and things like that, that's a military base. The way that everything functions, everybody works like worker bees. They all have a purpose, and you can't fuck up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
nobody can get in anybody else's way.
Can't get in nobody else's way.
It has to be fluid.
So Matthew Knowles and Tina Knowles, as strict as they may have been, I have my daughter, Wisdom, who I was in Houston with, who's born on Beyonce's birthday.
Right.
Facts.
8-4?
Huh?
8-4?
8-4.
No,
Okay.
8-2?
No.
9-4.
9-4.
9-4.
So they share the same.
Virgo.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And who that woman represents as a Creole woman, right? Beyonce in Texas.
Yeah.
For those women and those girls and things of that nature out there. Like, that means a lot. And and that's everywhere around the world. You know what I'm saying? So I think she's transcended pop stardom. You know what I mean? She's going into superstardom. So
Facts.
with the fact that she has a husband or a chess piece, because the queen and the king, they can show the world. They not just told, look, this is the king and I'm the queen. He moving through this rap shit, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He's chilling with the president, like he's a boss. I'm a boss.
Right.
And if she's becoming slightly more conscious or slightly more woke or slightly more cultural sensitive or slightly more expressive of what it is that she may have been taught as a child, because it goes back to programming. So Matthew and them programmed the daughters by taking them to the shrine of Black Madonna, not necessarily traumatizing them, but protecting them. So I have a daughter, and I would say if my daughter was to be singing, I would be very disciplined, very protective, and very strict, because I could not let her into that industry, because a specimen such as Beyonce would only became who she was because of the protection and the overbearing of Matthew. Mm-hmm. You feel me? Right. Because they would have ate her alive in the industry.
To protect her industry.
Yeah, to protect her. To protect that. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
Jay had to maneuver him out the picture by saying, I'm gonna marry her and I'm gonna take over the business and we got this, and now it's a different thing. But he got her to where she was able to go with Jay.
Right.
The father gives away the daughter. So even though people may be judging about, oh, he got a girl pregnant and all, look, he got her to her dude. And yeah, she was on a motorcycle with a Baphomet. And yes, she's Sasha Fierce. You know what I mean? She was possessed during the time of Yeezy's album. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. But this is a mother of twins and a young girl. And she puts out sexually provocative music, but she also balances it out with, things like that. About her personal, social, and all of that. That's not what we're talking about right now. I'm not here for that. I'm just identifying an example of somebody who we can all relate to. We all know what we're talking about. And this woman has an effect on the hearts and the minds of more people on this planet than most people on this planet. How about that?
Ever in history.
Ever.
She has billions.
You know what I'm talking about? Ever. So if she's on the team, you know what I'm talking about? If she's with the woke-ish, you know what I mean? Because she's woke-ish. Like niggas are Jew-ish, she's woke-ish. And I don't have a problem with that. Why would people feel offended? Yo, son, she put the Eye of Horus on her coat of arm with a cross on it. You saying, beloved, but listen, with the fist, right? Right? And then she had the Nefertiti, you know what I'm talking about? And she had the gall to have a motherfucking, what was the other thing she had?
She had the Unk on there. She had a bumblebee.
And the bumblebee. Netsu Biddy. She's cooking. You know what I'm talking about? Look alive, nigga. Look alive. Like, she's
cooking.
She in the
kitchen with that liquid gold.
She in the kitchen with that liquid gold.
That honey.
That honey, baby.
So, this is my thing. people, you know, we need to just, you know what I mean? We just need to, you know, tap into the energy that she's letting, you know what I mean, that she's emanating, you know what I mean, and use it for creative reasoning and not for, you know what I mean, and not necessarily for judgmental kind of, you know, damnation or, you know what I mean, wishing bad and always being suspecting or, you know what I mean, like, y'all can have your conscious watchdog group and check her out and make sure she, you know what I mean, she really goes to Africa or things like that, but that's, I'm just saying, you know, I'm just saying. She's inspiring a lot of young women around the world to be very regal in their nature, right? Because she's a mother who's married, who's not out there sleeping with mad men, is not telling everybody, yo, you need to bust it wide open and, you know what I mean? And get it like you know it, you know, get it like you live and all of that. She's not sharing that message. So there's other people that you could talk about. You know what I mean? So somebody said Atlanta Coachella is ancient black land. Yeah, and she was the first headliner at Coachella, a first black female or the first woman of melanin to headline Coachella. I'm like, who the hell was headlining Coachella? Who used to headline Coachella if it wasn't a woman?
It used to be like
all rock and roll, right?
Katy Perry.
But
Lady
now,
Gaga.
yes.
The first black woman.
Huh? The first black woman, right? Yeah.
That was all rock and roll.
So, I mean, let's not be judgmental. She set the bar high. She came in, because if she would have did something else, it would have been a problem then. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's not good enough that she did the black. She made my dude a legend from 2/5. Lift that beat with the what's on that?
The elder.
You know what I'm saying? Well, they what is it? Yeah, I'm forgetting the elder's name, but he with the trumpet playing lift every voice and sing. So there's young ratchets out there that never heard lift every voice and sing. You feel me?
Yeah.
There's some people who are not plugged in to, you know, Negro Google that never heard lift every voice. They heard it that time. You know what I mean? They get exposed. Cool. Then she had the HB, they had the marching bands. The steppers. She put the Les twins out. You know what I mean? I met them before by the Apollo. Like, you know, she represented in a way that it was like, yeah, that's how you do it. That's how you raise the bar. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how you let it be known. You know, she represented for the colleges. You know what I mean? Y'all can have y'all conspiracies of what the black colleges didn't do for us and, you know what I mean, how bad Greeks are and whatnot and why not to pledge to them. She made her own fraternity and made it comedic. How about that? Put the wings of my eye over it. Put this over it. This is what she put over it. Is it a coincidence? You know? So she showed the coat of arms. Now a lot of people are like, they into coat of arms. You know what I mean? People are researching now. Now it's a teacher moment. What happened to the teacher moment? This is what we utilize. This is all just teacher moments. You know what I'm talking about? Like, this is all time to teach. Now I could teach about that because everybody likes the crest. So, you know, we have to come out with the Kings County crest like that. But she sparked a new interest in comedic stuff with the, you know what I mean? Like, she's a trendsetter. She's an influencer. So one of the powers of the influencers is they can influence millions. That's the same thing that her husband did. So we're seeing reciprocity. We're seeing balance take place because her husband came and fed brothers with the 444.
Facts.
You know what I'm talking about? Then he had a good tour and everything. The tour was litty. Everybody that went there was hype.
His most successful tour.
His most successful tour ever. Then he put visuals out and all of that. Then she comes with her BEYCHELLA thing. Then they're going on tour. So, you know, I'm rooting for...
Remember, J&B is Jack.
J&B is Joaz and Buck. Boaz and Jack Kim. JB. The Pillars. Strength and beauty. You know what I'm talking about? It's symbols, it's symbology to this. There's levels to this shit. So we were having this conversation a little while ago about Fear of a Black Planet Part 1. This that we did in 2010 in Atlanta. And the part deuce to it, the part 2 is coming up this Sunday in Atlanta with Professor Griff, Blue and Red, April 22nd in the West End at the Wadada Juice Bar across the street from Soul Vegetarian, 828 Ralph David Abernathy, 2 to 7. It's going to be a movie, so please come through. That's going to be history. Do you know why? Because the first one is certified history. Why? I'm going to tell you in a minute. There are many things that were talked about during that lecture, and this is all facts. I encourage you to do your research. You know what I mean? We have people out there who've been following us from day one, from early 2000s, and they're archiving everything. So, we'll get the footage. The footage is out there from Fear of a Black Planet 1. Blue Pill talked about a series of rappers, in that presentation. The presentation dealt with, do you want to explain what the presentation dealt with? The presentation was dealing with hip hop in a sense in 2010. This was one of our first lectures, and we did it with a legend, Professor Griff. The 3 rappers that he talked about in his segment, because we all had segments, in his segment was Jay-Z, Kanye West, Drake. Right? The reason that this lecture was such a classic is because this is when the prophecy of the pillars, and he introduced the Law 44 in this lecture, right? So this is a classic, bona fide, certified. Give it the stamp. I gotta get that and we're gonna put it out. So all 3 of those rappers who he decoded, not exposed, not dragged, not made fun of, not called them the Illuminati and they're evil and you know what I mean? Don't listen to them while niggas was on the way to the lecture was listening to them. Not that. He was decoding on a very high level, a very metaphysical. You know how Blue Pill decodes. And those 3 rappers have come out with albums that are very, we just had to draw the conclusion that, this is something that's crazy. So Kanye West comes out with Life of Pablo, right? Jay-Z comes out with 4-4 Floor. Well, let's just backtrack. Life of Pablo. Blue Pill's name is Paul. That's Pablo.
Look, and he dropped it on February 13th, which is the 44th day of the year. And it went platinum on April 4th.
February 14th being the 44th day of the year. Hold on. February 14th being the 14th day, the 44th day of the year is the day of our conception.
February 13th is the 44th. February 14th is the 45th.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Well, give or take. No. Damn. Hold on. Listen, let me do this. Let me cook, please. The 44th day is the day of me and this man sitting right here's conception.
Facts.
Based off of the fact that our birthday is November the 14th. So exactly 9 months later is November 14th, which is the birthday of Red and Blue Pill. So we were conceived on the 44th day, the day that he released that album. And that album Pablo is called The Life of Pablo.
How about that?
How about that? Which is Paul. Then, afterwards, his big brother, right, the big homie,
put him on the front cover of a magazine,
puts out an album last year, mysteriously, out of nowhere, just out of nowhere, nobody had anything to say.
You can never see me.
444.
Oh, I don't know that guy. Nah.
And if anybody knows, and like I just said earlier, Blue Pill introduced the law of 44 in the lecture Fear of a Black Planet in 2010 in Atlanta, Georgia, when we were with Professor Griff. Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Right next.
Right?
You cannot say.
Hold on. So the man comes out with an album called 444. The 444 poster just popped up. Before the album came, this stream is about to end. We're going to do another one. Before the album came for the Instagram, all right, we good on FB. Before the album came, right, the posters, the marketing, the fact that you begin to see the 444s pop up everywhere around New York City. The same places where the Law 44, the God was at, like where we were at a time. At a time, because timing is everything. At a time where these niggas all turned their backs.
Well, we was under attack.
And we was under attack. And all these, you know what I mean? Niggas, had the knives, niggas had their long knives out and everything. They eat. So 444 drops. It could be conspicuous that it's just 444, but then the content inside of 444 was
prophesized the content of the album in a pre-show a few days earlier with Brother Rich.
Yes, and he talked.
I explained the entire process about how I arrived at that conclusion, because Jay-Z's name in Gematria equals 372, and 372 is the same number for Scorpio. So Jay-Z as an artist is Scorpionic. Mm-hmm. As Sean Carter, he's a Sagittarius. So I said that we're going to see the transformation of Sean Carter and Jay-Z, where Sean Carter's going to come forth.
Remember, there's a reversal. There was a role reversal that took place between the two energies of Kanye West and Jay-Z. Kanye West came on the scene as a conscious rapper, or in his day and time, based off of how he came with Jesus Walks and Through the Wire, he would be deemed a woke-ish rapper in the light of the other woker rappers like Dead Prez and all of them. Okay. He was a woke-ish rapper. He was a woke nigga back then with the teddy bears and the polo and whatnot. So he comes around. Then he matures throughout the ages and whatnot. He becomes the Louis Vuitton Don. You know what I mean? He starts getting into He becomes style centric and things of that nature. It becomes more about the women. It becomes more about living the life. It becomes more about materialistic things and whatnot. Then we get darker Kanye. Then we get heartbreak Kanye. So we get hurt Kanye, who loses his mother, right? So he goes through his tragedy. He goes through his ISIS crisis. You know what I mean? Then he reborns with the Heru chain coming through with the Yeezy, with the big Heru piece. Facts. The rebirth and the all red and whatnot. Remember when he came out, you know what I'm talking about? Right. And he had the big comedic, the pyramid rings, and he had the humongous Heru piece on. Jesus walks, but now Heru walks. You know what I'm saying? So he becomes more of a withdrawn, kind of darker individual. Esoteric because the album, what? The album, the Dark Twisted Fantasy, right, is giving you, he's showing you the trajectory, or he's showing you how he's becoming a darker individual, how he's becoming. So now it's all about sniffing coke off of white chicks' butts. You know what I mean? He's raw Yeezy. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. You know, he's giving them that Yeezy. But then, on the flip side of that, he does an album called Watch the Throne. On Watch the Throne, he's joined by the big brother, the big homie, this triple OG, Hova. But when you listen to the lyrics on most of the songs on Watch the Throne, there was an interesting dynamic taking place. Jay-Z was more conscious and Kanye was more materialistic. On Watch the Throne, that's when the changing of the guards begin to take place. That's when the actual the you know what I'm saying? Markets. The what?
They exchange markets.
The exchange of the markets those wheels begin to turn at that point. Thus, fast forward to today, and I'll walk you back a little bit to show you how he gets there. But now Jay-Z is the conscious. He's headed to be the conscious rapper. The kind of Kanye didn't even reach that level. I don't even think. But if he did, he's getting to the point where Kanye was when he came in. Because if he comes out with anything more political after 444, he got you. I'm just saying, commercially, you know, and their score, like, he got niggas. He's gonna be, oh my goodness, this is the transformation, and you know, and that would only be right. So as Kanye becomes more pop and gets into the Kardashian thing, and then he goes blonde Kanye, Trump Kanye, sitting on a mountain Kanye, sunken place Kanye, you know what I'm saying? You know, all of the things that happened to Ye. Because if y'all don't recognize the brother, you know, I don't want to even say it in a very negative way, but he his you know, he did, like, his star fell. Like, you know, let's keep it 1,000. You know what I mean? Like, there's something that happened to the point where people don't even, you know what I mean? Like, he's not even part of the conversation right now.
Yeah. Unrecognizable.
He went from the conversation. He went from that dude. He went from on everybody's attention and everybody's mind. He was staring.
He represents the little bear. That's Polaris.
The little bear, Polaris.
The procession of the equinox is already taking place because Drake has solidified as, you know what I'm saying, only one person can occupy that throne.
Facts.
So he's no longer the voice of the youth.
Facts. Drake came and took that. Now, hold on.
So
we could talk about Jay, and we talk about him in lectures, and we'll talk about it even more. Blue hasn't even presented. Did you ever do that lecture? It didn't work out. The one that you did with Rich, it didn't come out right. The 444 decoded. Right. Yeah, we gotta do that one day, maybe on a webinar thing or webcast. You know what I'm saying, like a pay-per-view.
I got it.
Because it's about 8 hours long, but the bro goes in. But we gonna get back to that because we don't got a lot of time, right? We in this thing making magic. This is, you know, I gotta do the Monday, so I'm giving y'all some. Yeah. The next artist is Drake. Today he announced that he was coming out with an album called Scorpion. So we all know that. I mean, everybody don't know that he's a Scorpion. We talked about this before, but the brother he said he's putting an album out called Scorpion. And if anybody knows, there's an album out that's already certified. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I mean? In the Hall of Fame, you know, the Scorpion King. So just on SEO searches alone, my guy. Just on keyword searches alone. Just on if you like this, you'll like this. Just on when you type in Drake Scorpion, it's just going to have Scorpion King right there. It's automatic. You know, that's the universe, you know what I'm saying? Saying, yo, I'm conspiring for you to win. This is how shit like this works. You know what I'm talking about? So I'm just pointing out something that was very obvious to me when I really looked at it. I'm like, wow, these are the artists that we were decoding, and not on a personal, like, you know how people be disrespectful to artists that they never met, don't even know, but they can swear that, yo, they sleeping with goats. I hate them. When I see them, I'm going to deal with them. And then they take
baby blood.
Yeah, they drink a baby blood. But then, like, they be on Twitter hugged up with them and whatnot. A few months later, no, like, these artists represent something on a symbolic level. We're talking symbol literacy. We're talking metaphysics. We're talking looking at these energies, these entities, these
cosmic beings.
These are cosmic beings. You know what I'm saying?
We all are cosmic beings.
As we all are cosmic beings. Facts. As we all are cosmic beings. Everybody has the right to assert who they are and who they are not. The I am. You know what I'm saying? As we all are cosmic beings. So we're just observing what is taking place in the theater of, you know, the culture and whatnot. So it's just a lot of interesting parallels. On Sunday, coming up in Atlanta, we're going to dig deeper into it and even bring so much more. That's just one little, that ain't, I don't even know if that, yeah, that got to go to in the lecture, but that's just one iota of what we're going to bring. It's from 2 to 7, so you're going to get loaded up with some information that you already know you're not going to hear anywhere else. Like, let's be clear. Like, you know what I'm saying? This information is not, you know, you ain't getting this cloth talk. This cloth talk is not in Burlington, bruh. So, you know, There's some things going on in the theater of politics that we have to breeze over quickly before we sign out. There are a lot of aggression taking place. There's rumors of war. As a matter of fact, there's rumors of a world war. We had this conversation all winter. If you go back into Melanin Mondays prior to this, there's about 12 editions of this, or 12 episodes. I've been preparing the family to say that when that day comes, Blue Pill has been preparing the family. What lecture did you bring that up in? I think you spoke about that in when we were in Boston, when in Rome. Yeah. I think you brought that whole Damascus thing out, when in Rome, and that was in 2016. So Blue Pill spoke about the fact that when you see bombs falling in Damascus, right? Mm-hmm. When you see bombs fall in Damascus, what does it signify? What does it mean? Not according to what CNN may be reporting or what the internet is saying, but according to biblical narrative. Because you could deny it if you want, and you could act like that's not what's running the world, and you could say that you know what I mean, the Rockefellers and other people. Yeah, but listen, this biblical narrative dictates that there's going to be a conflict. There's going to be a battle. There's going to be a war that's going to take place. And the telltale signs of that will be bombs dropping in Damascus. You know what I mean? If you see the theater of politics and how it's playing out right now, anything's a go. You know what I mean? Nothing is, you know what I mean? Like, it's a volatile market. If this was the stock market, I would be lying to you if I didn't tell you that the market wasn't volatile on all aspects. But out of chaos comes order. So this is something that you have to prepare for, because if something is falling, that means something is on the come up. You feel me? Something is coming up. You know, and
it's this music. So
indeed,
finishing up what we got to do.
Yes,
We gotta get
indeed.
back to work.
Yeah. So we got to get back to this operation. You know what I mean? We're working right now, so we got to finish what we came here to do. But we're gonna catch up. We're gonna follow up. You know, we're gonna talk more on the whole theater of politics. But at the time right now, what you have to worry about, or what you have to focus on, or what you should be putting your energy towards is, what is it that you're creating? What is it that you're doing? How are you organizing to work with other people to make things come and manifest and come about and come to being? It don't matter what level you're doing it on, because we all doing multiple things on multiple levels. You feel what I'm saying? So everybody got to level up. They got to be, you know, it's all on you, you know. So enjoy the sunshine. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of that solar activation. You feel me? So
that music coming.
Yeah. That music coming. We got solar activation on this. We could close out with that. Yeah. Let's close out on some music. You know what I mean?
Going to the iTunes.
Huh?
Going to the iTunes.
Yeah, I'm in the iTunes right now. Yeah, make sure, even if y'all don't live in Atlanta, tell a friend, because everybody got somebody that they know to live in Atlanta. It'll be knuckle dragger friendly too, so you could bring the hood, because we're going to speak their language. Let them know that a legend is in a building. You know what I mean? Professor Griff is in the Hall of Fame. Like, he's a bona fide, certified, you know, living legend. So, pull up. Alright? Twin the album. Right? Yeah. Red Pillar at Patreon.
Yo. Shit is amazing. The manipulation. They literally got menstruation in heavy rotation across the nation. Man, I can't take it with these stations. Playing oversaturation of lower aspirations. Solar activation. All the maturation got me investigating. Living up to my expectations. Living for the next generations. Living for the ending of my appellations. Patience is a virtue. Hating only hurts you. The bright light glares, the hair in and out of here. Shit. Greatness is determined. It took a while to appear. You gotta earn it, never out of fear. Blood, sweat, and tears is the hurdles that you gotta clear. Or adjourn it, you out of here. Life will curb you. The day that you rest in peace, it won't disturb you. But until then, it's building, till it murks you. Depression is killing our children, so hurtful. They popping pills and drinking ill blends of the purple. Pics on social and sniffing cocoa, sipping YOLO in a circle, passing big blunts. Kept so many enemies close, he became the 10th one. Young pimpin', playing high post with your eyes closed, sipping with models, listening to convos. In the midst of rivals who wanna hit lotto, come up with your number, run up on your Hummer with the cocaine seats. Lightning and thunder, OKC. The drugs got you slumbered. No wonder when you slumber with eyes closed. You dream of walking tight ropes. One slip up and it's done. You only live once. Yeah, I know. Life is a bitch. You got swallowed by the game. She got a big cunt in a tight hole. She had a kid once. Then she got lipo. But the cycle continues. She keep you on the menu and swallows them in vain. Hansel and Gretel, dancing with devils in tight clothes and some ill fronts. In a condo on Biscayne, I got invited to a meal once. Fancy restaurant, it was real plush. Upper echelon, the place where they get the deals done, the real ones. The ones if you break your word, they break you in ways you never healed from. The ones where there's steak on a plate when the meals comes. Ones like Sparks, where Paulie got sparked while in park. John Gotti got that deal done. The crime he made his meals from. Some of y'all will remember that, but some of y'all was real young. In the lobby, I was met by a God body, working for the Illuminati. You're the real one. He said, don't feel wrong, I gotta pat you down for concealed arms and listening devices. You can't take a word. Some advice kidneys just will leave you lifeless with the slightest sign of betrayal. His name was Ray from the Bay, reside in Vallejo. He told me keep Christ in my life, remain faithful. He seen vice in the night that'll make your face blue. I said thank you. I fell in there looking debonair. Heavy stairs for my debutante, a mainstay. Gloria Estefan was on the main stage. I got inside on the table they had mountains of yayo, ebony dancers, snorting bass. Face looking like Tusker elephants off of Louis trunks, and nothing but their pumps, they was truly jumps. Some of their booties pumped, others truly plumped. Shit, I wanna screw me one. But business first, what y'all wanna do? The constable said get comfortable, let me take your coat. You still got a ways to go. Shit, they'll send their favorite hoe to come for you. Please be advised, she's the number 2.
Twin the album, y'all. Support that. Peace.